Let's get to the money.
Let's get to the
Money.
Let's get to the
Money. Let's get to the motherfucking money.
Fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, 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 fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. Middle finger in your ass screaming fuck the bookies. Woke up in the morning, grab my little black book. Yesterday can eat a dick, cause we lost by the hook. Can't win them all, so you never see me get shook. Today's a new day, the bookmaker's getting cooked. When I spot a dirty K of 4 units getting played, always find the value, I would never be afraid. Scared money don't win, but I'm not going all in unless I see a bet I love, then I put my balls on a bookie's chin. Let it all soak in, doubling my bread, winning money with my friends. If you got the itch and you wanna go big, follow Sharpie bets and you gon' really fucking win. This is not financial advice, it's entertainment. But if I find the right price, believe I'm parlaying it. You can see my spreadsheet, I'm winning, not just saying it. Profit in the green every week, I'm never negative. I can bet an ace or a shitty old picture. Pick the right spots cause I'm the K-pop whisperer. Shut up when I speak until you finally get the picture. I'm the best in the world, tell me you getting richer. Fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, 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 fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. Middle finger in the air screaming fuck the bookies.
Let's get to the motherfucking monies.
Yeah, let's get to the motherfucking monies. Welcome to the best MLB prop show on God's green earth. I'm your host, Sharpie's Bets, and it's Friday, so you know what that means. We got us none other than SpinDoc joining us to talk the next best thing to God, and that's pitching props, not your kids. Just joking. Calm down. Don't fucking hate mail me now. But how you doing, my guy? I see you got a giveaway going on, so you want to talk about that now or at the end?
I do. I'll mention it at the end too. So tout prop is 10-1 on the year and just hit since I started doing it 2.5 years ago, just hit win number 200. So to celebrate, 200, win number 200. So it's hitting at 63% lifetime and 91% this year. So going to post that in just a little bit. Once the lineups come out for some of the ones that I am narrowing down, and all you have to do is like or retweet that the tout prop today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. You get a drawing entry every time you do. On Tuesday, I am drawing 4 people, and the winners will get free VIP plays, picks, everything, the whole package for a week. So all you have to do is like or retweet or repost, I guess it's called now, the tout prop of the day once it's posted, which should be in just a few hours. I always like to wait for final lineup to come out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm freaking checking lineups as you're talking, like, lineup.
Refresh.
Yep. All right, bro. Let's get into it, guys. We are going to talk 6 pitchers like we always do. We'll go through the best bets at the end of the chat. But we are here, and before we talk, you got to hit the fucking music, Sharpie. Yeah, bro. What's this show without a little bit of New World Order, guys? So let's talk Hunter Green versus the Orioles, striking people out at a 29% clip while walking people 8.5% of the time. Morning line was 6.5, minus 136 on FanDuel, where the best line now is still on FanDuel to that 6.5, but at a minus 150. His outs are at a 17.5, minus 120 each way, whereas earned runs are at 2.5, minus 145 juice to the over. Projected lineup is 6 lefties, 3 righties, because it's still not out. Let's talk Hunter Green, where it did show a bunch of rain, but I did check the forecast, and it shows that they should be able to get this game in.
Yeah, so I see a few things here, and just watching the Orioles over the last over a few times over the last week, kind of confirms my suspicions here, is that the Orioles' zone contact rate is below average. So league average is 85.9. They're at 85.2, so not a huge not a huge variance, but it is still above Greens, who's only allowing 82%, which is actually in the top, I think 33rd, top third of all pitchers. Again, that's contact in the zone. That's not chase contact. So Green has hit this number twice against Seattle and Milwaukee, but so the Orioles will chase, and this is the key to this one for me. They had all kinds of trouble with Rodon's slider yesterday in the first 3 or 4 innings before they really tightened up. Actually, I think that their whole approach for plate discipline, which if they do this tonight, they might suffer a similar result. Their whole approach to plate discipline was just terrible because Rodon was throwing fastballs early, which is what Green likes to do, and they were just sitting there taking them. Just take, which is interesting because you have a team that swings above league average inside the zone. So they would take, and then set themselves up for the slider. This is a very similar pitch profile. They don't throw exactly the same type of slider, but what I see here is that Hunter Green his break is up from last year on his slider, and his horizontal movement is at 7 inches on his slider, which is 48% above league average. By comparison, Rodon had 6.5 inches of horizontal movement, and the pitch is thrown at a similar velo. Why is that important? Well, it's the pitch that Green throws the second most, and you look at the whiff rates for some of this projected lineup against just any old slider, and that's not Hunter Green's slider. This is any slider. Cowser, 52.2, Westberg, 42.6, Adley, 36.4, and Gunnar Henderson, 32.5. Everybody else kind of sitting back in that league average rate. So I think that even though his earned runs prop is elevated, the hits aren't. And what that tells me is that's actually pretty common when you play against the Orioles because they expect them to swing for the fences and hit for power. But what also happens when a team tries to swing for the fences? Yes, they can make big contact, but they can also whiff. And that's what Green has been generating. He's generating a 36.4% whiff rate on his slider, and his forecasted whip, not his earned runs, his whip is right in line with his season average. So due to all the struggles that the Orioles have had against the slider, and due to the fact that they do chase higher than league average at about 33.6% compared to a 31.3 average, and Green is even better than that at 34.2. I have to lean to the over here. I think I don't know if I like it enough for it to be an official, like, let's roll play. But I think if you're looking at betting this game, over or nothing are the only 2 ways that I would go. There's 4 guys that are almost assured to be in this lineup, that being Henderson, Rushman, Westberg, and Cowser, that have just had all
Cowser. They just came out with the lineup. No Cowser. They put Heston Kjerstad and Jorge Mateo at the bottom 2. So no Urias or Cowser. So just
Urias. Yeah, Urias not being in is inconsequential. Cowser not being in would probably take me off of the over.
That sucks. That's a lefty, and yeah.
Cowser not so yeah. If Cowser was in, if those 4 were all in, and none of them were batting 9th, I would probably be interested in maybe a small shot on the over. With Cowser out, no, because he has an insane whiff rate against the slider, which I'm assuming is why he's not playing today.
That and after probably what he did yesterday. But at first glance, I was like, rain and the O's? I think I'm good, guys. Then I looking at some stuff, and I was like, oh, fuck. Rain, go away. I may want to bet some Green today. And guys, no, it's not when we look at the Orioles numbers versus right-handed pitchers the last 15 days. As yes, they're not walking, yet they're only striking out 22% of their at-bats with a bottom 10 isolated power. Green's problem at times, guys, is he'll walk himself out of a fucking game, guys. Like, his coach will let him give up 3-4 runs in an inning and still go 6. It's his pitch count that you got to worry about. You need to worry about this guy not walking people, and we got a team not walking, let alone they're only striking out, like I said, 22%. So it's got to be under, right? Right? No, guys, come on now. We got to do a little better than that, right? Then I went and started to look at who the fuck have they faced. And, oh, man, I'm not talking about just in these numbers. I'm talking about all year long. They've had some easy freaking matchups, bottom of the end, middle of the rotation type of guys. As the only guys they've seen that I would look to bet an over on is Pablo Lopez, who went 6 innings with 7 punch outs, and Jared Jones of the Pirates, who had also 6 innings and 7 punch outs. And that's all they've seen, guys. At the end of the day, their K's percentage is a little bit fraudulent. And the fact that they, did load up 6 lefties, which this man has struck out at a 34% rate over his career, with a cool 27% rate over his career versus the right-handed side. Kind of like exactly what Jones is doing this year to the fucking T. It's over or nothing, guys. I don't know if I'm willing to pay minus 150. And that's what it comes down to, guys, is a lot of people will bet that and be like, but they don't track their fucking bets. They track their wins and losses, but not what happens when you lose a minus 1.5 unit. They don't track that. So I do pay attention to it. Everything's got to say go, go, go. And I'll finish doing a little bit more lineup work. If I pull the trigger on them, I'll let you know. But it's over or nothing in this spot for me. They haven't seen guys like him. And when they have, they've struck out. So,
Actually, you're talking about people not reporting their record. My favorite are the people that give out like minus 140s and then they lose and like minus 1 unit. I'm like, oh, your book doesn't charge you juice? That's neat. I'm like, can I get on one of those?
Almost spit my coffee out, bro.
It's like, hey, when you win, it's plus 1 unit. When you lose, it's minus 1. I'm like, I don't think the books work that way. Last I checked, I believe they have this thing called VIG.
Yep. I mean, you should only be winning like 0.5 units at a time, which is okay. Just be honest. And let's talk about the next guy on the book. And I'm a little excited to talk about him. Jordan Hicks at the Phillies, striking people out just 21% of the time while walking people 7.5% of the time. Opened up this morning 4.5, minus 130 to the over on DraftKings. Best line available now to the over is minus 145 on BetMGM. Pitching outs last night when it opened 15.5 at plus 115 to the over. Now it's at minus 105. Earned runs are at 2.5. It was minus 1. I think it was actually less, but now it's minus 135 to the under. So money is coming in on Jordan Hicks today. Projected lineup is out. We got 5 righties and 4 lefties, pretty much what the Phillies run versus a right-handed pitcher. Let's talk Jordan Hicks before we talk Aaron Nola.
All right. When I look at this, so I'll talk about team metrics in a second, but I go down and against lefties, the splitter, right? Because that's the pitch that Hicks uses as a secondary pitch to get primarily lefties. And I go down and I look, and now I'll preface this with most guys have a higher whiff percentage than, say, a 4-seam fastball, which is usually around 25, 26%, which is the average whiff rate, 1 in every 4. You normally see a splitter in the 35 to 36% range, just because 1, it's not throwing as often, and 2, the pitch is designed to get you to chase. It's designed to get you to chase. It's designed to get you to swing and miss. For most splitters that are thrown with that hard break down in the dirt, if you do happen to swing, chances are pretty good that you're going to miss. So really, this is like how often they swing at these pitches too, because they're often out of the zone. And you look at the lefties in the Phillies lineup, and I mean, I know the guy hits the ball a ton, and he's a great asset to have, but Kyle Schwarber, my God, 54.8% whiff rate. And he also has a 40% whiff rate this year against the sinker. A sinker, which is designed to be put in play. You also go down and look at Bryce, 32.5. You look at Marsh, 33.3. You have a lot of guys with a very high whiff rate against the secondary pitches that Hicks throws. Now, going up to the team metrics, what I see is, and this has always been the key for the Phillies, you don't have to worry about making them chase. They'll chase. Some pitchers we talk about were like, you got to throw this and this to make them chase. You don't have to throw the Phillies shit to make them chase. They're going to do it no matter what. They swing aggressively. They swing hard. They swing for power. They swing to put up runs. What happens when a team does that? You can get them. So, as an example, their chase contact rate for the season is 56.9, or for the last 2 weeks, 56.9%. That's well under MLB average of 61.9 or 62 actually. Jordan Hicks, right in that range, right at about 63.9. So With Hicks's combination of a sweeper and a splitter, which sweeper he uses on righties primarily, splitter he uses on lefties. The only way I'm looking here is over. I'm not sure how you can go under in this spot. The only way that I can see it would be if they just pound the shit out of him and get him out early. But then I go and I look, and his hits are at 5, which is what they were last time. And his walks are a little elevated at 2.5. So it's a little bit more than normal, but he is on the road. So overall, there's not really a whole lot of things that are making me even think about an under here. I think if you're playing this, you're playing the over.
Well, I got a bet in here, guys, and it's not a K prop. And you should fucking already know if you're watching this show, guys, because we got a dirt storm on the menu today. As not just Jordan Hicks, the other side of this matchup as well are 2 ground ball pitchers, and we got us a place to look to back them as we're in Philly, guys, and you already know how I get down there. So the question is, do we run both their outs or take an under on a full game? Now, when I look at the Phillies' numbers over the last 15 days, they're gonna say they are walking better than league average, not striking out at just 18% of their at bats, well as being one of the best teams, actually the best team in isolated power. So let's just go see who they have seen in that time span that I would bet on. As they've seen the Rockies and White Sox, and enough said, with just their team names, right? Yeah, right. Hunter Green got 6 and 7 innings. The Padres, where Musgrove got his ass handed to him, and Cease got 5 strikeouts in 6 innings. And all those games where the name that I just mentioned were on the road, and none of those guys are ground ball pitchers. Last time the Phillies seen a ground ball pitcher like Hicks was at home. His name was Mitch fucking Keller. He went 7 innings, gave up 8 hits, yet had only 2 earned runs. Why? Because the ground ball's your best friend in Philly. That's why. And I'm going, dude, I did this right up last night, and I know he did as well next to me because we didn't have many games to cap yesterday, so we were already doing our stuff for that. And I told my guys, like, I'm waiting for it. Give me 15.5. I know we're getting 15.5, and I know we're going to get plus money. He's only hit the out over 15.5 on his outs, guys. 3 of 6 games, and the Phillies are the best team hitting the baseball. Take in what they fucking look at. You know what you're going to get. And I got it. And I took the over outs last night, 15.5 at plus 115 on BetMGM. It's now minus 105. I don't care. We've got one of the best ground ball pitchers in the fucking game. In the game. And one of the wettest infields in the game. Sign me up, guys. And that just goes with his over on strikeouts then, because you just heard everything about his secondary pitches. They're going to swing aggressively, put the ball in play. He's going to get double plays when needed. He's going to go longer. He's going to have mass opportunities at striking these guys out. When he gets to 2 strikes, he's going to have a hell of a time. So it's Jordan Hicks Day, guys. Get in where you fit in. Anything else?
No. Only I saw Voodoo Rangers comment about Nola. Let's segue to him because I got some notes on him.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit of Nola. Aaron Nola, guys, gets his shot at the Giants, where he's striking people out this year 23% of the time while walking people 7% on the year. Open them up 6.5 plus 120 on DraftKings. We're the best line available, still on DraftKings, so that's 6.5, but it's now plus 125. His pitching outs are so far juiced to the under, they don't let you bet it, whereas earned runs are at 2.5 minus 155 juiced to the under as well. Projected lineup is...
It's official now.
What is it now? Same lineup, 5 lefties, 4 righties? Did they put Flores in?
No, Flores is not in.
Conforto's in too, or no?
Confort, yeah, it's Lee, Wade, Soler, Conforto, Bailey, Chapman, Yaz, Estrada, and Ahmed. So
that's exactly what they projected, and I didn't think they were going to do that, man. Fuck. All right, let's talk a little Aaron Nola. But before I let you go to him, one of my guys that pays for my bets is like, bro, I'm going to the Phillies game tomorrow, man, and you're gonna get me stabbed. So I'm just gonna keep that Jordan Hicks freaking bet inside while I cheer for him. I was like, yeah, bro, don't get stabbed in a baseball game. But yeah, let's talk Aaron Nola.
All right. Well, and to that guy, I will say what I've told some of my subscribers before, because I give out under props, and they're like, oh, man, that's my squad. Why are you doing this? I said, a guy can strike out 2 hitters and throw a no-hitter. Like I'm not saying he's going to pitch bad. I'm just saying he's not going to strike anybody out. So Hicks can go 6 innings and the Phillies can still win. It's like I don't give a shit who wins the game. But anyways, on to Nola. So the first note that I put on this one was all depends on lineup construction. We have that now. We have the one that I am quite interested in. You have an interesting dichotomy here because you have a few guys, especially against the curve, which is Nola. One of Nola's punch-out pitches is you have Soler with a 60% whiff rate this year. And you might think, okay, well, limited pitches. Well, it's more limited, but you go back previous years and it's just as bad. So you can probably chalk Soler up for 1. I actually have him down for 1+, 1.5. Then you have Conforto at 37.5, Yaz at 37.5, but then the rest of the lineup, their whiff percentages against anything that Nola can throw is very, very, very low. And the thing that I found digging into this one is that, okay, you go look and you're like, okay, Nola just totally murked up the Padres, right? He got 10 against him, just K. So his line got moved up. I get the move up, but, and you think the Padres, well, yeah, they're one of those high contact teams too. They are, with one notable exception. The Giants' chase contact rate is 70.9% over the last few weeks, which is actually very similar to what it is for the season. That is 3rd in Major League Baseball. The Padres, their chase contact is almost 6% less than that. I go and look at Nola during the start against the Padres where he got 10. He got chase contact on only 46% of his pitches outside of the zone. That is way up from what his season average was. Coming into the game, he was at almost 70%, and he's got it down to 46. Giants have been making chase contact for a while now. They've been making chase contact against these types of breaking pitches. It's juicy. I will tell you that. The under 6.5 is very, very juicy right now. You're going to get it at -150, -160. Those of you that roll with me know that we typically don't play those straight up, or what we do is we just put 1 unit straight on it and don't play the juice. I actually wouldn't even be opposed to an under 5.5 for this one because up top, besides Soler, you have Lee and Wade, who are extremely, extremely low candidates for a strikeout. In fact, it would be shocking if Lee struck out. He's only striking out 6.7% of the time against righties. So you factor in all of those low whiff percentages. You factor in that the Giants make great chase contact, much higher than the last team that he faced and got 10. And this one just screams under to me. It also screams the potential that Nola could get touched up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm kicking myself on that 10 piece because we were talking on the phone and it's just like when you're not hot, you don't pull the trigger, but yet I knew Nola was going to rack them up versus fucking the Padres and just didn't bet it because I was a vagina. But I was there a few years ago. I was there 8.2 innings of baseball and I almost saw a perfect fucking game from that guy versus the Padres. And I learned then and it stuck. They can't hit a fucking curveball for the gosh damn life of them over there in San Diego, bro. So it just is what it is. He's got a hell of a knuckle curve. That's his freaking one of his main pitches. So, yeah, I get it, guys. At the end of the day, I thought I was going to bet this game under. I was looking towards the under 4 last night, and I'm sure it's now a 3.5 now as I think the game's moved from an 8 to a 7.5. Either which way, guys, the more and more I started looking into it, I was like, what are they going to do with this lineup? Are they really going to put Conforto in, who's batting a $167 and is freaking 53 at bats, striking out 19 times? And they did. They put him in there. And then they put everybody else that I expected in there. Now, I thought we would get Flores, who in 13 at bats is batting 300 with only 3 strikeouts. And then I would have been like, okay, now we can really actually feel comfortable. But I have a problem going under on Nola just strictly because he's at home. He's a ground ball pitcher. And when you look at all these guys who do hit him, as it says, oh, Wade's hitting him 600, Soler 313 and 21 at bats. Yeah, well, out of those 21 at bats, 5 of them are singles. Like, so there's a power dude. And if you hit a single versus Nola, he's going to get his double fucking play. That's what he does. He's in Philadelphia. We know what's going to go on with that dirt. Hence the reason why I'm on Hicks. But it's under or nothing, but I can see an over here, guys, by him going out there 8 innings and just getting ground balls. And he can pitch the contact and at the right time get the guys that he needs to get, as he does have a 25 to 30% strikeout rate and all the guys that you mentioned, and Soler, Conforto, and Yaz. So a hitting prop that I would look at being in Philadelphia, guys, is freaking Yaz's over 1.5, whereas him to hit a double or a home run. In his 3 at bats, he's got a double and a home run. That says he lifts the curve. He's looking to freaking hit a curveball, guys. So yeah, he does punch out 3 times, but the two of the 3 times he's hit him, it's gone for extra bases. So definitely worth something to look. I didn't want to fade Nola at home, guys, so I just let it be because I can see a day where he does go deep because of that. But I can also see a day where they get to him. And at first I was like, I think the wrong team's favored. I think I'm going to go bet the fucking Giants to win plus money, bro. Like first 5 full game. And then I just said, I don't need the double bet. I've got my pitcher going at least 6 innings today, and I'm betting it at 15.5. So I'm going to leave Nola alone, and I'm okay with that.
Yep. And to your point, if you do follow where like reverse line movement and sharp action, sharp money, whatever goes, the indicators are that this is actually a giant spot. Now, as far as like what that means for Nola, because remember, this game could be 1-1 after the 7th inning when Nola exits and the Phillies could still lose. But the indicators are that public is on the Phillies and sharp betting syndicates, etc., are on the Giants. Now, they're not always right, but that kind of goes along with what you were saying, Sharpie, about is this a sneaky Giant spot? And, for the plus money, you could do a lot worse. I'm not going to have anything on it, but you could do a lot worse.
I mean, what is his ground ball percentage, bro? I believe it's like 20% better than league average. Like, this is almost like a dream matchup for this guy. You got a vicious, ferocious team who wants to swing, and he's going to get you to hit it on the ground where he wants to, in a spot where you don't want to hit it on the fucking ground. I was just like,
Nola's ground ball percentage.
Hicks.
Or Hicks. I'm sorry.
Nola's like 10% better, but I think Hicks is like actually like the highest I've ever seen. I was like, oh my goodness.
I mean, when you throw a sinker, that happens, right?
You're supposed to get your ground balls, bro.
That's what sinkers are designed. Sinkers are designed to get ground balls. Yeah. His ground ball percentage is 59.6%, and his fly ball percentage is 28.1. Huge split.
I'll take it, bro. Give me my ground ball guy at home, and gang. Let's get into the next guy, fellas, as this is another game where it showed a lot of rain, but then I looked at the forecast right before the show, and it shows that it should at least play at, whether it doesn't start on time. I don't know what time it's playing on. I mean, I'm sure Ohio ain't too far from me, but I don't know. I don't leave my fucking house that often. So at the end of the day, Tanner Bybee gets the Angels in Cleveland. They should play. There may be a little spurt of rain that comes about an hour in between when they start or not. I don't know if it's big enough for them to stop the game. Still something you should monitor and check closer to game time. Go to the weather, guys. Check the radar and make sure there's enough gap in between the hours that you're not going to get hit with rain, because if you're on the over, the worst thing you can ever freaking think of besides an injury is Mother Nature, guys, because they don't refund you. Yet they don't pay you out if you win either. Isn't that fucking weird? Like, that's just like model. It's a trap, bro.
What a business model.
And I did it. I bet the under on Barrios when it rained, guys, and they didn't pay me out. They didn't pay none of us out, guys. So if they would have freaking, the game is considered over after 5 innings. If they don't go 8.5 innings, we don't get paid. You're playing with fire if you're fucking with rain, so always check is what I'm getting at. Morning line was 6.5, minus 110 on FanDuel, where the best line available is now plus 115 on MGM, a 25-cent move to the under, and I don't think people are betting the under. At least not regulars in the public. I think public looking at this big old K percentage and betting the over, but we'll talk about that. Pitching out 17.5 minus 150 juice to the over, where earn runs 1.5 minus 150 juice to the over as well. Projected lineup is 5 righties and 4 lefties. Let's go.
All right. So on the surface, to your point, Sharpie, this might look like a chance to hit an over. But let the buyer beware on this one. This one has me, the over for this one has me just all kinds of nervous, and here's why. Assuming that the projected lineup is very, very similar to what the actual one is, so you're going to get Neto, you're going to get Moniak probably at the bottom, and each of them are a very good candidate to strike out. But right now, Bybee is only projected to face 24 guys, and what that would mean is that he's only going to face both of those guys two times. He's also only going to potentially face Logan O'Hoppe. Hope, who has a 31.4% whiff percentage overall, potentially twice as well. So when you give me that number and you give me the guys at the bottom of the lineup, okay, fine. Let's just say that we even get 3 from those guys. Hell, let's just say 3 from those guys. Now you got to go up top and you got to look at Chaniel, you got to look at Adele, you got to look at Ward, Drury, Rengifo, and really, none of those guys are high whiff. The highest whiff percentage in all of that is Adele at 28.4, which is not that much worse than MLB average of about 25. The other thing here is that the right-handed batters, the pitch that Bybee uses most often to put them away in the secondary perspective is the slider. You go and look at the righties, and you have Adele at 26.1 whiff percentage, Taylor Ward at 17, Rengifo at 16.7, and it goes on like that. And Nolan is up there at 22. There's just not a lot of whiff percentage. A lot of whiff potential up top in the lineup. Now, when you look at swing metrics, you do see that the Angels have a 55.2% chase contact rate, which is well below the league average of 62. So you might think, okay, well, they chase a lot. No, some of them chase a shit ton and others don't chase at all. The actual chase rating for this team is one of the top 5 in baseball as an organization. They just happen to have 2 guys, and I guess 3 if you count Sano, who's not playing, who are just outrageously high. The other thing is that Bybee did just hit 9, and I'm going to talk about the Braves because I tweeted it out before the show in a little bit. They also swing more than the Angels do. They swing almost 50% of the time compared to 46% for the Angels. You might not think that that's a huge difference, but you got to figure each team gets about 37 to 40 plate appearances per game. They swing the bat approximately 3 to 4 times every single plate appearance. Do the math, and then you tell me over the course of a season if 3% is significant. It's extremely significant. 0.5% is significant when you're talking about that many different random trials. So I don't like the over here at all, but I don't know if I want to take an under with Anaheim on the road. What will really depend on it for me is where O'Hoppe, Moniak, and Neto are in the lineup. Or if they're in, I guess.
I mean, yeah, we don't know what they're gonna get. I want Pilar in the lineup too with all those guys for me to go over.
Yep.
But let's talk about it, guys. This game, like I said at the beginning, did show a lot of rain, but when I checked the radar closer to the show, it shows they should get this game in, which sucks because a double header lineup is almost like a moving day lineup. And Bybee does had some good matchups in his last few games versus the Braves and the A's, who both are striking out 27% of their at-bats, while being top 5 in the league, whiffing at a 4-seamer and at a slider. And what did he do? Put up 8 and 9 strikeouts respectfully. And we will talk about the Braves' problems later, but they having some issues. And his other good game this year came versus the Twins, who are also top 5 team when it comes to whiff percentage. So yeah, Bybee has had some good matchups. And when we look at the overall numbers of the Angels, as they're bottom of the league in isolated power, striking out 27% of their at-bats, with Bybee owning the Angels 2 times last year, going 7 innings each games with 7 and 8 strikeouts respectfully. We get plus money on a 6.5? Shit. It ain't that easy, fellas.
Nope.
As the line has gone down, like the books want more over money when they know the rain looks to be gone. So let's go check the lineup numbers from last year's book, guys, as there were a team who also whiffed and chased with the best of them last season. As the Angels were not striking out by the numbers when he seen them both times, they were hitting the ball both times. Yet, like I said, he went 7 innings in each game, had 7 and 8 strikeouts, and the highest K percentage he ran into was a 22%. But it's a little bit deeper than 22% K percentage. And that's what I'm saying is it's a little deeper than looking at this 27% strikeout percentage and saying, you got to fucking run it. They're striking out 27% of the time. Well, look at what they're striking out to and look at what he had in that lineup. Every lineup he faced last year versus the Angels had 6 righties and 3 lefties throughout his career. He's about 2% better versus the right-handed side. If you look at it this year, you're going to be like, oh my God, there's a 17% difference when it comes to right-handed, left-handed. Yes, it says 17%. But it's only 2% off of his fucking last year numbers versus lefties, guys. So I'm just saying it's been matchups. It's been teams that it's been his normal freaking, he needs whiff. And when we look at the lineup, like he just said, 4 of the top 5 guys in this lineup don't whiff. Those are the guys you're going to see more often than not. You're going to have to get in on the whole bottom half. Like he said, Hoppy down to Neto. Yeah, you can get Adele. Drury, if you go off of last year's numbers, you can get him, and he got him then. But Drury, through his career and all this year, is back to being his normal self. Now, my question is does this all go out the window now that Trout's not there? Trout's there during the home games. They're not home. They're on the road. And when do the Angels become the Angels? Because there is a lot of kids on this team. They've got some guy, I believe, batting 8th or 9th, who came into the game the other day when I needed a strikeout. And this guy looked like he was 18 years old, bro. Like they didn't even make a jock strap big enough for this kid. Like I was like, oh, God. And his number said he was hit like 400. But you go look, he's had like 12 at-bats. So it's like, oh, bro, dude, they've got kids up here, bro. And this is a grown man's game, fellas. So might be worth a spot, guys, to look to get in on Bybee's outs or to look to get in on live and strikeouts. If you've got legal books, we've got DraftKings, guys, and we can bet strikeouts live. Watch his pitch count. If he's got a low freaking strikeout total through the first 2 innings, we know what he's going to do to the back end, guys. That's, so might be a time to get in live. At the moment, I'm not going to get in right now. If they want to give me 6 guys in this lineup who whiff, I will get in. At the moment, it's 5, and it's not even in the right freaking order that I would like them in. I would like those guys who don't whiff to be spread out, not freaking 4 of the first 5, because then it's going to be like, damn, dude. Now I'm going to need you to go deep. So sometimes you got to buckle in and figure out what's going to hit first, the outs or the strikeouts. And I would say his outs would be the play here if I were to bet it.
Yeah, the umpire for this game was also released. It is Ryan Wills. Wills is a pretty neutral umpire when it comes to actual strikeout percentage. However, there's an important distinction here. He does have a tighter top of the zone. He's had a number of times this year where guys have painted the top of the zone with fastballs or high sliders, whatever that he's called balls. And he has a more generous inside. So there've been a number of pitches that have been outside too far inside that he does call a strike. Why this matters is when you go and you look at Bybee's pitch location, he runs his 4-seam fastball high. He runs it up in the zone. He runs it in the 12-1 or 12-2 range. So, is that a be-all, end-all decider to say, oh, shit, the umpire's got a tight zone? That, tight zones don't matter when you have a team that swings and misses. But they can matter when you have a pitcher that throws the ball in a spot where the ump can be tight, and that's what Bybee does. Now, to lefties, he will have a slight advantage with his slider because of the more generous zone. But on his four-seam fastball, which he throws it, which I believe he throws, 42.5% of the time. If he's going to try to run it up in the zone, he just so you know, he does have an umpire that has a tighter top of the zone.
That's enough to keep me off right there, bro, because when I was betting against, I took his under against the Red Sox because how many lefties they loaded. And I believe his breaking pitches were down back then, but he's had a problem throwing first pitch strikes. He's got that under control his last 2 games, and even in the Red Sox game. So that'd be three games in a row. If this guy doesn't get his calls, bro, he's gonna melt down, bro. I've seen it with these young kids, bro. He's gonna start freaking kicking dirt, bro. And oh no, I don't want to be on an over at that, but it is right now over or nothing. Even with 5 guys whiffing, it still favors him. So I'm not going to be like, oh, he can't hit it, don't go bet it. No, I'm just telling you why I'm not on the over personally. But this is one where y'all probably expect me to hit the music, and I don't got a bet in, but I just want to fucking hit the music. Now I want to bet is under, and it seems kind of easy, but nothing in life is easy, fellas. George Kirby versus the Astros, striking people out 28.5% of the time while walking people just 3% on the year. Morning line is 5+ -148 on FanDuel. Pretty much it was 6.5 everywhere else, where FanDuel's outpriced the 4.5 now at a -162, and the 5.5 is at a +120 on BetMGM. Pitching outs is at 17.5, -145 juice to the over, whereas earned runs are at 2.5, -120 each way. Projected lineup is 5 righties and 4 lefties. Let's talk George Kirby.
All right, Mr. Kirby. So I'll just preface this because I think, Sharpie, you might have more to say. I'm probably going to be off this one unless I get the projected lineup, which I don't think that I will. And it would be the lineup that has Joey Loperfido and Trey Cabbage. I don't care where they're batting. Both of them, granted some in limited plate appearances, but both have insane strikeout rates against righties. So meaning 44% or worse for their career. Again, limited plate appearances. So the other thing that concerns me is the chase rate of the Astros. Now they are making a lot of contact. So they make contact at 71.7% on chase swings, which is significantly higher than MLB average of 62. However, they also chase at 35%, which is above league average. And you have a pitcher with Kirby that does generate a decent whiff rate on his four-seam fastball. He's actually close to 30%, which most pitchers are in the low to mid 20s. So the other thing with Kirby is that the vertical movement on his slider is up slightly. The horizontal movement is down. And that is his main put-away pitch. You look at the Astros lineup and you see if they happen to go with this lineup, you do have 3 guys at the bottom of the lineup that are whiffing at 32.3% or worse to the slider. So I probably am just going to stay off of this one. If they put Loperfido and Cabbage in for the guys that they have projected that they'll be in for, I'm not opposed to even taking a shot on an over here. Maybe it's really hard to play an over against the Astros because over the last 2 weeks, they have the highest percentage of zone contact in all of Major League Baseball. They're over 90%. And you have to just stop and appreciate, I don't care if it's for a 2-week span, just how impressive that is, that on every 10 pitches inside the zone, doesn't matter speed, type, break, whatever, they make contact and they don't whiff. Their swinging strike rate during that same period is 8.2%, which is the lowest in Major League Baseball. So the only thing that would lead me potentially to take a small, unofficial shot on an over here would be if those 2 guys were in the lineup. And The rest of the lineup was constructed as is. Otherwise, I probably don't really want much to do with this. Umpire for this game is not out. It is not going to be Bill Miller or Alfonso Marquez. I know that for a fact because we got Bill Miller somewhere else that I'll talk about after we're done with all the regular ones.
Oh, God.
We got Bill Miller somewhere tonight. He's behind the plate. Go ahead.
Wish he was on one of the guys we were talking, preferably Gavin Stone. Oh,
Sadly, no.
Yeah, but I've got a bunch of fucking hoopla for you here on George Kirby, guys. I'm gonna take you through the emotions of a gambler right now, guys, because at first glance it looks like it's an easy fucking under, guys. Like, oh my God, this is easy. How are we not going to? Let's just look at the past history. He played them 2 times last year. He went 6.2 innings in 6 innings and didn't have more than 4 strikeouts. This guy's freaking key is whiff. There ain't no whiff in this lineup till you get to the back 2 of this lineup, guys. And there's no chase contact either. When we look at it, yes, we've got a lot of guys chasing, but when it comes to making contact, we only got 2 guys who don't whiff, but yet don't make contact when they chase, and that's Pena and that's Tucker, and they've got to combine 2 strikeouts in 20 at-bats versus this man. Now, if they run 2 freaking trash can lefties at the back end, holy crap, does this man actually do have action? And the problem that I'm coming up with, guys, is why I'm going to take you through the craziness of my head is I was actually looking at a same game parlay for his strikeouts under 5.5, his outs over freaking 17.5, and the Astros team total under. Like, yeah, man, this guy's going to go shove and just not strike people out. And I'm like, what are you fucking doing, bro? What are you fucking doing? Like, you dumb motherfucker. So why I want to take this guy's outs over 17.5, I don't know if I want to pay that type of juice, is because he hasn't been the ground ball type of pitcher that he's been throughout his career. Yes, short sample size career. Yes, only 5 games this year, but he's like 8% under league average right now for ground ball percent. And I don't want you freaking throwing pitch and fly balls in Houston. Now, Houston right now, middle of the pack isolated power. When this man faced them twice last year, they didn't have an isolated power below 240. That's like fucking Mars, fellas. Like, that is through this roof. Faced them at the beginning of the year when they were crushing, and I'm talking lineups, not just overall numbers. I track lineups. And at the last week of the year when the Astros had to win to get in type shit, this dude shoved. Now, both of those games were in Seattle. He was typically a ground ball pitcher last year. And ground ball is going to help you in Houston. And he's not been a ground ball pitcher this year. So he pitched 6+ innings, gave up less than 2 earned runs. So it's like, I want to back this guy. I want to take his outs, and I may parlay it with his alternate earned run total at 4.5 for the Astros total under. Is I think this guy shoves today. I want to back him, but I also want to take his strikeouts under. And I said this about Quinn Priester versus the A's the other day, and I didn't bet it. And it happened that way, guys. The fucker went 6 and had 3 strikeouts. But sometimes, you fucking call it and just don't bet it. It is what it is. But I see Kirby shoving today, guys. This Astro team isn't hitting, and he owned them when they were hitting. Twice. And in the playoffs the year before that, if you want to go farther back. So I would love to ride his K-prop if he would use his split finger versus a righty. That's the pitch to get this fucking team with. They're so gung-ho to swing on a fastball that a split will murder them. But with 4 lefties projected, that strikeout prop I don't think is easy as under as what it thought to be, guys. Is I think this guy's got a shot at going 7+ innings today. And facing that many lefties, he gonna have action.
Yeah, it's gonna depend on the lineup construction for sure. Those 2 guys specifically, I might use umpire as a tiebreaker for this one. Again, it's not out yet. With new series, you have to wait until it's actually released before you can get it. Just a little trick for those that don't know. If you ever want to know who the umpire is going to be tomorrow in a series that's already started, just go check who the first base umpire is tonight, because they all rotate to the left. So whoever the first base umpire is tonight in all these games is who's going to be behind the plate tomorrow. But with a new series, you don't know that. They send the crew there, and then the crew chief decides who starts where and when. And so you have to wait till it's released. And the umpire for that game should be coming in about an hour or so, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna matter. Like I don't know if there's an umpire in baseball outside of maybe the two opposite ends of the spectrum, Bill Miller for overs and Alfonso Marquez for unders, that would make a discernible difference for this one.
He don't walk people and they don't whiff, but it's like they chase though.
They do,
and they're not hitting.
They actually chase over the last 2 weeks, they chase at the third highest rate in baseball.
Híjole chingado, man. Well, guys, let's talk us a little Gavin Stone versus the Braves. Striking people out at a whopping 16.5% clip, while walking people 11% of the time. Morning line was 4.5 plus 106 on FanDuel. Best line is still plus 104 on FanDuel. Pitching outs came out late, but it is 15.5 minus 130 juice to the under, where the earned runs are at 2.5 minus 150 juice to the over. They saying he getting smacked, fellas. Projected lineup is 5 righties, 4 lefties. Let's talk Gavin Stone.
All right. So I tweeted this out earlier today about how to use the Braves to your advantage. And I'm a firm believer in this, and I've done it a few times, is that the Braves, like the Orioles, like the Phillies in some cases, just teams that have good power and that swing for power, more specifically. Teams that swing for power, for guys that can throw off-speed junk stuff to keep them off balanced and can hit their locations right, you can get those teams to miss. Case in point, the Atlanta Braves. So the Atlanta Braves, everybody obviously assumes, are a very legitimate contender in the National League. They have an all-star offense. They have all kinds of power. They can smack the ball around. They're also striking out at an insane clip lately, and it's not just the bottom of their lineup. In fact, the biggest whiff concerns over the last few weeks have, so the bottom of their lineup, yes, but it's actually come from Ronald Acuna. Acuna is at a 31.3% whiff rate this year, leads off obviously every game for them. He'll face Stone 3 times. He especially struggles with the type of slider that Stone throws. He has a 41% whiff rate for the season and strikes out against righties 30.4% of the time. Why does this happen to a team that is this good offensively like the Braves? Well, some hitting coaches have their teams more balanced, where they're either swinging to make contact or swinging to hit power. Other teams, like the Guardians, or to an extent the Diamondbacks, the Padres would be another, the Giants would be another one, have their guys swing to make contact with the ball, make contact, put the ball in play. You typically see teams that have a little bit of a discernible lack of power top to bottom in their lineup. That's what teams that you consider would be like slap out hits, scratch hits, infield singles, manufacturing runs, right? The Braves, like the Phillies, who we talked about earlier, is that ball is either going into the catcher's mitt or that fucker's going over the fence. That's how they swing. That's how they're coached. They've had the same hitting coach for multiple years. They're swinging for power. So if you have a guy that can get them off balance, you can get a ton of swing and whiff. So whilst Gavin is not striking guys out at a high rate, what he is doing is he's only getting guys are only making chase contact against him 57.1% of the time, which is 5% under league average and is even less than Atlanta, who is also under league average. So the Braves over the last few weeks have been chasing one of the highest rates and making contact when they do at one of the lowest rates. The other reason why this is important is, given the mix of pitches that Stone throws, he has to be on the outside. He has to be on the corners. He has to be on the edges. This guy doesn't have an overpowering fastball that he's just going to blow by you. It's not like Hunter Green, where he can just wind up and say, here's 98 up at the top of the zone. Hit this. Gavin doesn't have that. So he only spends 39.2% of the time in the zone, which is well under average. And so when you have a team that chases this much. If this is the lineup that we're going to get, especially if we get Denard and Kelenic at the bottom, who are whiffing at 33.8 and 33.3 respectively. Kelenic especially is whiffing against the changeup, which is his put-away pitch for lefties, at 48.3% of the time. There is only one way to play this one, and I hope you can guess what it is. It's that way. So now, I know that some of the lines did say with earned runs, yeah, he might get touched up a little bit, and yeah, the Braves might score some runs. Go back and look at some of their previous starts, because they've had some really average pitchers strike them out a lot. Even ones that they kicked the shit out of for 5 or 6 runs, they still strike out. And the reason why is because they're swinging for Mars. Top to bottom, there really isn't a guy in this lineup that goes out there to just try to put the ball in play. So over or nothing for me.
Now, I'm going to go back and forth and back with this guy as well, because let's talk him. Gavin Stone, guys, he's going for my boys in blue, and he got himself a matchup with the Braves, where if you look at it, over the last 15 days versus right-handed pitchers, ain't been the Braves that we're used to. As like my guy just said, they are walking league average if you look at their overall numbers, striking out 27% of the time. And they got a bottom 5 isolated power. They're not hitting nobody right now, just trash cans, speaking of the team that we just talked about. Now, the K percentage, guys, is kind of skewed. As if we go through this lineup, it's just 5 guys in this projected lineup that are striking out above 26% of their at-bats. And their walk percentage says it's league average. But with these projected 9, 6 of them are walking 2% better than league average. It's just 3 that are really, really, really bad that's pulling it down. Now, Stone's walk percentage on the year says it's ass, but for most of the careers in his minors, guys, he's been around league average. As well as 2 of the 5 games this year where he had a shitload of walks, the guy got blasted in those games. So this all comes down to me, guys, is this guy going to walk people? Because like he said, he only throws less than half of his pitches in the zone. Is this guy going to walk people? And when I looked at last year's, and I was like, before this even came out, I was like, man, are we going to get a 5.5 because how bad the Braves are? Are we going to get a 4.5 because the Braves and what they did to this man last year, guys? And they took this guy to the woodshed last year. I believe he gave up 5 hits, 4 earned runs, and only had a strikeout. Why? Because he sucks. That's why. No, joking. Because he walked 5 that game. That's why. That's going to be the end of him today if he doesn't hit, guys. And that right now is the reason why I haven't just straight up just pulled the trigger, because we know we're getting the core 6. And when I ran through this lineup, I know my guy next to me does the primary pitch and the next pitch. I went through every pitch in this lineup to see what these guys struggle with, guys. And we've got 5 guys that struggle predominantly versus 2/3 of his pitches, whether it being from the right side or the left side. Now, if this dude he throws a cutter to both sides, just not enough. He's usually 4-seam to lefties and sinker to righties. Now, 7 of the 9 whiff it a cutter like a motherfucker. And when we get down to his out pitches, guys, it favors him as well. So I would like to see one more guy out this lineup and a Duvall in, but the plus money is worth it if you're going to go over. It's over or nothing, but like I said, the earned runs are 2.5 because of those walks. If this guy doesn't go 3 times through the lineup, it's going to be tough. The Dodgers will pull him if he's walking people and giving up runs. It's just is what it is. He's a young pitcher. They're not going to leave him out there to get hung. And if he's not getting outs and he's giving up the long ball after he walked 1 or 2, he won't see 3rd time in the lineup. And that'll probably be the reason why he doesn't hit. So careful about them walks, guys. 6 guys in this lineup are walking 2% better than league average. And that has been the death to this man, guys, throughout his career so far. Anything else?
Not for him. I wanted to touch on the one question I know Voodoo Ranger asked about umpires, just because we happen to have a really good umpire if you like strikeouts. Mr. Bill Miller is umpiring in the Rangers-Royals game. Both sides of that game are not one you'd normally expect for any side of a K-prop in Lorenzen or Singer. But for those that don't know, Bill Miller is the most pitcher-friendly umpire in baseball. Strikeouts can increase in games where he's behind the plate by upwards of 25%. He's got an incredibly wide strike zone. He's got an inconsistent strike zone as well, always has. So if you're looking for an umpire to pick on, you're going to look for that for overs. And while he's not behind the plate tonight, if you ever see Alfonso Marquez behind the plate, he is the same thing, but the opposite side for unders, tightest zone among active umpires. Looking at the rest of the umps for tonight, the ones that have been released, most of these guys are pretty neutral. The only thing I did want to point out, though, was in the Philadelphia and San Francisco game, Brian Walsh, it was just released. So I looked it up while you were talking, Sharpie, and Walsh is a pretty neutral umpire. The one thing to look at, though, is that he has an incredibly wide open bottom of the zone. He has all kinds of erroneous calls this year where pitches that were way low were called strikes. So if either Hicks or Nola wants to work low in this game, especially if their opponent wants to be patient, that probably won't matter as much for the Phillies because they're not patient. They swing a lot, but the Giants could be. So it could mean something. But you only get the benefit of those calls if that's where you're working in the zone. So that might be one.
Nola likes to work on the edges, bro. Nola likes to run his two-seamer off to back on.
Yeah.
And likes to run his change off to on, and he likes to hang out on the edges.
Yeah, and he's pretty neutral over there. Other than that, you have a slight hitters umpire out in New York with the Tigers and the Yankees with Alan Porter. Strikeouts go down a little bit, walks go up, and I think slight pitchers umpire out in Pittsburgh for Colorado and Pittsburgh. I saw Martin Perez posted earlier. Can't say I blame you. It's never a bad bet to take the Rockies over strikeouts. The one I wish we had Dan Merzel for was tomorrow when Jones pitches against him. In my VIP, we were doing a little poll and debate about what that line would be because I can see us getting an 8.5.
For Jones? No, man. 6.5 juiced.
I think 7.5.
He hasn't hit his last two, bro. If he hit his last two, okay. But he ain't hit his last two, so it might open 6.5 juice and wake up 7.5.
Yeah, I might.
I think we got action at 6.5. Thank God, because he didn't hit. Like he had 3 versus the Giants, and I think he didn't hit the other one. So it's like maybe like, oh, he's coming back down to life.
Yeah,
not it's the Rockies.
And then just one last note about the Braves with their swinging strike rate. What I always look to do with the Braves is I always look to pair them against a guy that does work outside of the zone. Typically, MLB average is 48.6%. So you want a guy that's under that. And you also want a guy that can generate at least 55%, which you can find on Savant, 55% chase rate, or I'm sorry, not 55, 35% chase rate or more. Any combo of that, the chase contact you can look at, but it's less important than just getting them to chase. Because the more you get a guy a chase, I don't care if it's a utility infielder that's in the 8-hole playing, just got called up, or Ronald Acuna, or anything like that. The more you get a guy to chase and swing outside of the zone, the more chance you have of generating whiffs. So
no Cabbage, and we got Lupa to do fuck whatever the fuck his name is.
Oh, the other guy?
Yeah, but we did get Singleton. So yeah, I'm gonna have to run the Astros lineup a little bit and see how I get
okay. So Singleton for Loperfido, and then Cabbage. Is Cabbage in the 8 or the 9 hole? Cabbage
is out. Lapa Dick fucks in the game.
Oh, that's right. Is he 8 or 9?
8. Dubon 9.
He's 8. Dubon's 9, and Singleton's 7, right?
Yeah.
And top 6 are the same. Yep. Okay.
Yep. I'm gonna have to run that too.
Yeah.
Well, as always, bro, I appreciate you. I only have 1 bet in. I will probably have more than 1 bet in, as I will tweet out anything else that I'm on for the day. And that's Jordan Hicks outs over 15.5 at plus 115. It's like minus 105 now. I don't care. I don't care if it was 16.5, but I knew I'd get 15.5. And if you want to hear the breakdown, just rewind it. As always, my guy, it's a pleasure talking baseball with you on Fridays. This show does the most views when you're here. It's not a fucking coincidence. I appreciate you. Let them know where they can find you, what you got going on.
Yep, at SpinDocSports, as I said, I will have my tout prop, which is the public play that I have posted shortly in just a little bit. I've narrowed it down to 3 or 4. So should be getting that out. And the contest that I got going on throughout the weekend, all you got to do, like and retweet and repost. So one drawing entry for each. On Tuesday, I will put them into a big bag and I'll draw 4 names out, and those people will win 1 week free of all VIP plays that I have. All the VIP, the swing metrics charts, Sharpie that I go over with you every day, all those things. You get 1 week free of everything. It's all you got to do is like or repost. So at SpinDocSports, if you're not following, just follow and turn notifications on. But like I said, you're less than 2 hours, it should be out.
Yep, I'm looking to get in on some more right now.
I am too.
I need to break these freaking lineups down. Appreciate the 60 live today, fellas. If you haven't already, do us a favor and smash that like button. None of us are getting paid, especially this man next to me ain't getting paid $1, and he's coming over here on his own time. So smash it. He's going to tweet out his prop. Y'all motherfuckers need to retweet it out, motherfuckers, in the nicest way possible, and always say thank you, fellas. That's the thing, at the end of the day, if you do something, I don't care if it's take somebody's bet, bro, and I know a lot of people take this guy's bets. It's like, dude, hit that retweet, hit the like for a motherfucker, say thank you, don't be so proud to tell another man thank you if you bet something. I don't get it. So appreciate everybody for tuning in, guys. This is the Balking Dead. Let's keep today rolling. We ain't had a losing day since last Saturday, and that's what we want, guys. No losing days. Let's just keep the fucking days to either nothing or something. And we want something again because I'm hungry, guys, and I don't want pizza. I don't want fucking pizza. Nah.